All right. So good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to have all of you on board. This is Learning Gap Academy, where we nurture entrepreneurs, where we raise empowered children. And I am so grateful today. We have wonderful hosts. We have Mike Micheni and Mercy Igoki. Mercy, I don't know, Mercy. Yes, we have Mercy and we have Mike. I'm not sure whether I can see Mercy, but oh, there she is. Yes, so you're most welcome to our panel today. Today we're going to be talking about some things. We're going to be having a mother-son conversation. We're going to have a mother-son conversation. And because this is a group where we talk to parents, and we talk to parents who would want to nurture their children's entrepreneurial skills, I felt that this duo is the best duo to actually talk to us today so that they can give us real life experiences about what to expect and how to actually nurture entrepreneurial skills in our children. So you're most welcome. Mercy, you're welcome to our group today. Mike, you're most welcome. I can see we have Janet. Janet, you're welcome. We also have Hannah. If you're going to be joining us while we have already started, please feel most welcome. We love you and we want the best for all of us. So I'm going to start off very quickly with a small conversation. Maybe we start it off with Mike. So Mike, how are you?
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Hi.
Hello. You're most welcome to our group today, Mike. Now, Mike, I don't know, maybe you can start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. And then we can also have Mercy tell us a little bit about herself before we start. You're welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. It's often said that the best place to start is at the beginning.
Yes.
And so this is where we begin. So my name is Mike Micheni. I am very happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a medical student, or as we like to call ourselves, I'm a student doctor at the University of Nairobi, right here at Kenyatta National Hospital. So I'm pursuing my medical degree, my undergraduate program, and I'm really excited to be here. There's so much for us to discuss and so much for us to get to know more about each other. I look forward to it.
Wow, thank you so much, Mike. You're most welcome. We are so excited and honored to have you in our group today. Thank you, Mercy. Hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. I'm removing my specs so that I can see you clearly.
Okay.
All right. My name is Mercy Igoki. I'm a mother of two sons, 28 and 25. Mike is my second born. He has refused to be called last born, but it is okay. He's my second born, and I am so happy to be here. I'm a teacher by choice, by training and practice. I've been a practicing teacher for a while, 30 years plus. I have taught all levels of education. I have taught high school. I did high school for 17 years. I did kindergarten and primary for 5 years. I have been teaching at the university, and currently I am an administrator at the university as a registrar in one of the private Christian universities in Nairobi. So who am I? I do parenting and career coaching. I am very passionate about young people. I'm very passionate about students, very passionate about babies. Yes. I think in a nutshell, that is who I am.
Thank you so much.
I'm a Christian. I think I shouldn't miss out that. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. I do my things Christianly.
Amen. Yes. Yes, that's lovely. I just learned someone saying they're not introverted or extroverted. They prefer to be called Christoverted. So I think we can say you are Christoverted.
Yes.
Yeah, you're most welcome, Mercy. We are so elated and so grateful for you to join us. You forgot that you are an author. and that you've written such an amazing book.
I'm behaving like a new mother. You know, when you've been called your name so many times, Mercy, 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 then you get a baby, and the first week, people are calling you Mama Mike, and you're looking around. You're wondering, Mama Mike. So yes, I am another of a book, shaping the generations and raising and discipline people. I'm excited, very, very excited to talk about discipline. Very, very excited. That's my live wire. Yes.
Wow. So we're going to be learning more about that. We're going to give you a short, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to tell us a little bit about your book. Yes, but after we've had this wonderful conversation. So yes, Mike. Now, Mike is Mercy's second born. That's what we get to learn today. And he's a medical student. So Mike, could you tell us just briefly a little bit about your relationship with your mom? And some of the things that she has instilled in you so far.
That's fantastic. Well, how is your relationship with my mother? It's fantastic. It's great. That's really the best way to put it. We like to say that aside from her being my mom, she's my friend. And not only I speak for both myself and for my brother as well, my elder brother Martin. He happens to be an advocate of the High Court. So mom is not only mom to us, she is our friend and someone who you can confide in and someone who you can look up to as an emblem of how you should live. I like to tell her, and mom, this is not Mother's Day, but I'll still tell you. It's Mother's Day every day. So I like to tell her that she has exemplified how it looks like for someone to love what they do and to have a passion for what they do and to do it with all their heart. As she's gone through all the different stages ever since I got to know her. Ever since I got to know her, from starting out in teaching in high school, going into kindergarten, getting to primary school, and then to university. We've seen all through, my brother and I, we've seen, when I say we've seen it, like it's for real, we've actually seen it because I went to a day school up until Form 3. So I was with her and I grew up with her almost 100% of the time. So we've seen it through all along, the passion that she brings to whatever it is that she's doing, and seeing her give her all to the children, to the families, and to the not. In fact, it wasn't only the student that she's teaching. When it was at a kindergarten, when it was at a high school, it wasn't only that she's focused to the student, but she's focused to the entire family. I remember her, we'd be overhearing, and Mom, I was eavesdropping. So we'd be eavesdropping and we'll be hearing how she's saying that she's not only resolving issues with the children about how huyu mtoto asomi, the child is not keen in school, but she'd get engulfed and involved in the matters of the family. And she'd be sorting out issues between the families and the marriages all along. So this has somehow become all about her, but with good reason. She's truly exemplified what it means like to look at a person as a whole and not just one part of their life.
Wow. I think I agree. I have interacted with Mercy for a long time, and everything you have said is absolutely true. Yes, she's a mom to all of us, me included. So thank you, Mercy, for being that. So there's a question that has just popped up just now about the relationship through the seasons of your life. Maybe Mike, you can tell us, growing up, how has your relationship between you and mom changed over the years, since when you're the earliest you can remember till now?
Great. As with any other growing teen, it hasn't been straight and narrow all along. There have been bumps, most definitely, that came about not only because I was growing up and I was getting to know myself, that we were all going through different seasons in our lives.
Yeah.
And so I can remember, let me think of a good example to give. Let me give that example. When I was a young teenager, I was a young teenage boy going through the heart of adolescence, going through puberty with all its ups and downs. I remember, oh my Lord. Remember I was going through puberty and I decided I want to put chemical in my hair.
Oh.
So that I can enjoy it. You know, it's something cool. I'll look cool. All the cool kids are going to be looking at me and it's going to be fun. So I remember we went without her. It was, I think, 2009, just after primary school. So we've gone for a trip with church to Mombasa. So we've gone, we're having fun, and when I'm there, I decide, heat of the moment, a true extrovert, I decide I want to put chemical in my hair, end of discussion. So I put it, and I call her and I tell her, Mom, by the way, I'm coming home, but I want you to know that I have came in my hair. Now, what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating as I was putting it, because I didn't put it alone with my friends. They're asking me, what will your parents say? So I'm starting to think, what are they likely to say? Will they refuse? Will I get home and my hair is all cut off? So I tell her and she says, Sarah, just come home, we'll see. And so I remember the first thing that this was my dad. The first thing my dad said when he saw it, he came, he looked at it, and he said, I don't like it. You're going to do it again. And we went, he actually paid, exactly. I thought he would say, I don't like it, get rid of it. It was, I don't like it. Let's go and I'll pay for you to get it done again. And really, it was the same thing with Mom. They were very liberal to understand the vicissitudes and the changes that come with a growing youth. So they were willing to let me have fun. It's in a controlled environment. And I can give another example if you have the time of how you want to give freedom. I would rather, my brother and I were given freedom in a controlled environment. So you want to put chemical in your hair, this is something that will come and go. And trust me, in a few weeks, it went, and I never did it again because I got what I wanted. I got the heat of the moment, the dopamine rush, and I was done. And just to give the setting of it's in a controlled environment, when later on I thought and I figured, now this time I don't put chemical in my hair. This time your boy needs to put earrings. So your boy thought, yo, I'm gonna put earrings. And that's the end of the discussion. So I told Mom, this time I told her beforehand. I just told her, maybe I'm thinking of putting earrings. What do you think? I'm anticipating either go and put them or don't put them. Now, let's deal with it, because I mean, this is such an open conversation kind of setup. So I told them, and Mom realized that this guy, he actually wants to put them, but it's a heat of the moment thing. So she told me, instead of putting earrings, why don't you get studs? Get the magnetic ones, wear them for a few days, weeks, feel how it feels, because you don't want to make a very permanent decision based on potentially temporary feelings. So she was down. So I had already saved up the money. I didn't ask them for any cash. I was ready. So I went, I bought the studs and I wore them. First week, second week, I tell you, I lost one. I lost one and I never wore them in again. That was the end of it, because it was a very temporary feeling. So I'm trying to imagine if it was maybe a tattoo on my neck that I wanted to put it. So it's very, or on my forearm, it's very permanent, but it's potentially temporary decision. A very permanent decision. So to answer your question more directly, without all the mini stories that I hope are exciting.
No, they are. They're lovely.
To answer the question, the relationship has been, it's been one of communication. It's been one of understanding, and it's been one of friendship. On both ends. I think I'm her friend. I hope she confirms this. Mom, please confirm. I hope she confirms this, but I truly believe that she's my friend.
Wonderful. And I think what, okay, Mercy, maybe you need to confirm before I say something.
Tafadhali, tafadhali. And you better say yes.
Remind him about the earrings. I helped him to look for the lost earring.
Okay.
We looked for it. We couldn't find it. So the one that he had, he removed, put it in the pocket. I guess it is in the pocket. He never described.
Wow, but that's really lovely, and that really goes in line with what you've written in your book about making a friend, creating a relationship, having someone to have a relationship with your child from day one, not being the parent who is up on the pedestal and being the kusema na kutenda.
I'm a believer.
Wow.
I'm a believer of friendship.
Friendship. So, okay, maybe I'll bring this to you when we get to your point, now that you talk of friendship. People usually argue that you can't be a parent and still be a friend. Like, you have to find where the thin line is. Maybe before I go back to Mike, maybe Mercy, you can tell me, where is the line now that we are here and you're talking about friendship, and there's all this argument of I am the parent, the buck stops here. Where do you draw the line between this is a parent and this is I'm a parent and I'm a friend? Where is the line?
Thank you very much, Dr. Rita, for that question. Actually, parenting becomes easier when your child is your friend.
True.
So you can't even put a line. There's no line. It is actually, it's intertwined. When you have your child as your friend, it is easy to instruct. Even in school, as we talk about discipline, when you make your student your friend, you make your child your friend. When you give them instructions, they don't want to offend their friend.
True.
So it becomes easier. Actually, that friendship benefits you as a parent.
Wow.
It of course benefits your child, but it benefits you as a parent in terms of now your parenting skills. Whatever is required for you to do as a parent is very, very. And again, you see, this is your child. Your child should find a fallback. When your child has issues with the teacher, they should find a place they can come to and they are accepted.
True.
When your child has challenges with the friends, they should find a place. They should find a friend in the mother, a friend in the father, who they can share with their frustrations and their disappointments. That is why, for me, I will talk about friendship with your child anytime as a requirement. So it is something that a parent, in my view, a parent should be intentional in creating. Being intentional in creating friendship with your child should be something that all of us as parents would want to do. Yeah.
Wow, that is so amazing. That is really eye-opening, because most of us young parents feel we need to be the parent and not really the friend. So that's really getting to hear from somebody who has gone through the journey. I think that's really nice. Now, before we get to the parenting, this is an entrepreneurial club or an entrepreneurial group. And we're in the 21st century. And I think Mike knows that we're in the 21st century. Jobs are not forthcoming, and even though they are, most of the people who are joining jobs, most of the young people are either millennials or what we call Gen Z, the Generation Z, where work and life for the millennials is one. A millennial will wake up at 3 a.m. to do some job, some work assignment, and be on Facebook at 10 in the morning. But we don't understand that. You can be at work and you're on social media, and at midnight, that's when you're working.
That's when you're working.
That's when you're working. That is the millennial. That is the age we are in. And especially now, with what has happened even in COVID, there's going to be more of that. Flexi working, etc. And so there's a high possibility that you're going to have so many children or our young kids getting into freelance. Maybe I would want to understand from a mom, parent a parent-child perspective. How, for Mike, what was your parents' attitude, especially as regards to entrepreneurship? And have you engaged in any sort of entrepreneurship? Yeah, just tell us a little bit about that bit, because most of the parents insist that my child goes to school to get a good job that pays well, but that sometimes it's not forthcoming. So where is how do we bridge that gap? So Mike, tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Great setup to the question. I think whatever you grow up seeing is what you are likely to pick up.
Yeah.
So it's less likely, it's less probable that you'll be told you should start a business. But when you see something and you're seeing where the cash to actually for you to go out for lunch and the like, where it's coming from, it becomes more of it becomes less about let me get the money, but more about I should do this, see what I've been doing. So we've grown up, my brother and I, we've grown up around business. With our parents being involved in it. In fact, just the other day we were reminiscing about how at some point mom was involved in selling fruits and vegetables.
Oh.
So I don't know if this is, yeah, so it definitely must be. So alongside that, she used to sell motorbikes. So she'd go from, I don't know where, from Nairobi, I think, taking them to Meru. Then on her way back, she'd bring fruits and vegetables. So she'd bring them, because I mean, you're coming back with an empty car. So it's either you're bringing that or you're bringing people.
Yeah.
And since it was a pickup, she'd bring fruits and vegetables. So she'd come back with them, set up. So, you're seeing how things are coming along. And so from that is where now I also figure as much that this is the path that I should take. Now, does it mean that I desert everything else and I focus solely on business? At least for me, I know there are others who've taken that path. So I really can't speak for them. I'll let the experts speak on them. That's you, mom. But for me, my brother and I, we didn't just choose that one route, but we also sought professional means. As I've mentioned, my brother is an advocate. So he went out in that path alongside doing his other entrepreneurship ventures.
Yeah.
For me, it's medicine. I always had a passion for medicine as far back as I can remember. So I wanted to be a doctor. And so that didn't have to bow down at the feet of pursuing a business.
Yeah.
And so it's never been like that. So alongside now my medical degree, I've sought out ways and things that I like and found a way to bring them and look them over into my life, still finding a way to strike a balance. To give an example, I really enjoy speaking and hosting events, what we call an event MC. Squeezy tunajitanga event host. Yeah. So I'm an event host. I host corporate events as well as some parties here and there. If you're really my friend, I can do one for you. But I enjoy corporate events. So that's the path that I went out and I've sought out to do. So I've done events all across, from medical events to non-medical events to events for airlines and events for other companies. So that's the route based on what I enjoy doing, which is hosting and communicating and engaging others in this kind of event. So yeah, Linda, tu nafaa nipatie kazi ya kumoderate.
Wow, yeah. Thank you for that, Mike. That's very interesting that you grew up observing your parents, seeing mom. I'm actually challenged. So many times I've come with an empty car. I think I should be carrying some vegetables, carrying people,
yes,
or doing something.
I also do consulting, business consulting.
Oh, okay. So I have a question for Mercy. Were you intentional about this? Was it something that you worked towards? Like you became intentional that I'm doing this so that my kids can actually see this and embrace it? Or was it just by, things just fell into place and they caught the lessons they were to catch?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I would actually say it's both. It's both. I needed to bring, I mean, it was going to be wasteful for me to come with empty pickup back to Nairobi, and yet I am going to make money in Meru. I had 3 shops in Meru. I had a shop in Ronyenjes, a shop in Marima, and another one in Gobo. Wow. So I would deliver motorbikes, come back to Nairobi, go back and deliver. I mean, if I'm coming back with the empty pickup, that is being wasteful. So I would come first for myself, that I needed to make money. But besides that, I also needed my children to learn that you can make a little more money. You don't have to be corrupt to make money. You can make clean money, not have so much, but have just enough, and you'll be okay. So I would say it was twofold. One for myself, and the other one also for my children to see that they can make money on the side.
Wow, lovely. I love that so much. 3 shops, Meru, Embu, Ronyenjes. That's really quite something. You are really an entrepreneurial lady.
I used to drive a pickup and take motorbikes to Meru.
Wow, that is amazing. Let me just open the floor to the ladies. Janet, Hannah, any comment or any question to this duo?
Janet's hand is up.
Yes.
That wasn't actually an hand up, it was a clap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that is very impressive for both you and Mike. I'm enjoying listening to you. I can pick the relationship and the friendship you have. Today we have an opportunity to hear from a child's or a son's perspective. So what I would like Mike to tell us is, what would you wish for us mothers to know, mothers of sons? What are the do's and don'ts when it comes to our sons?
Nice one.
That question is so loaded. My goodness. We listen. We really do. I dare not speak for every single son, but speaking for myself, what I'd wish you to know is not just moms, to dads as well, is that we listen and we observe, and whatever it is that we see around us, it will impact who we are. Just like any one of us. I mean, all of us are grown up around parents. So if your heart is truly for us, we'll pick that up. We'll pick that up, and we wish to show the same thing back to you in a lovely, in an environment that will encompass us showing you love, the same love that you've shown unto us. And speaking less as a son, more as an outsider a bit, I think as we grow up, as we all do, we are all adults, we come to see the things that younger people do, and we imagine, my God, I was there as well. Now, there are 2 ways of responding to that. It can become, I was there as well, therefore, you need to grow up out of this stage that you're in, okay? This is just utoto, unafaa utoke hapo ASAP. And that's one way. The other way that you can look at it is, I was there as well. And so with time, I came to see the valuelessness of that, if it's a bad thing that the child is engaged in. And so rather what I'm saying is, may our outset, may our view, may our outlook towards things that we think are childish not always be that to condemn immediately and to tell you to stop thinking like that, you're in total, but to rather guide the young person through the motion of life, that they may come out of that place. If it's something detrimental to them that they're doing, with time, they will see that it adds no value to their life. So may our outlook be that you want to walk with this person through that thing, and they come out on the other end having learned. Now, they don't come out on the other end having hurt themselves, and they're thinking, yes, mom told me, but she didn't tell me in a nice way, or yes, dad pointed this out to me, but they didn't do it in a nice way, therefore I don't like them anymore. You want to salvage the relationship to the best of your ability. So I feel like that's because that's something I've been thinking as well. I see teenagers doing things and I'm thinking, yeah, I've been there. So as older, as adults, we have a place for us to think, how can I walk with this young person through the emotions of life, and they come out on the other end still being my friend, quote unquote, still seeing that yes, I was right, but they're not looking at me with spite as the older person.
Wow. Wow, I love that. I think that has really spoken to me, that relationship is what counts. I think, and the other person, especially the child, understanding where you're coming from, that you're not coming from a place of judgment. You're coming from a place of love. Wow, that's just so amazing. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. Is there anything else? I think I just feel like, oh my goodness, this is so, I just feel this is so amazing. It's so
maybe,
yes, Mercy.
Maybe I could mention this. I could mention this for Mike, then he can talk a little more about it, because I know he likes it.
Yeah.
Janet asked, what is it that that Mike as a son would like the mothers to hear, is being listened to, being given a chance to explain. Mike, would you like to say a little more about that as a son, that you would love somebody to listen to you and give you an opportunity without first jumping into judgment?
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take this from a bit further away. When it comes to mental health issues, there are different ways of dealing with it. Are you ready? Daktari, uko na kalamu, uko ready kuandika notes? Very good, very good.
Yes, I have a paper and a pen. I'm ready.
My word. So in psychiatry, we say that there's a model of responding to psychiatric issues. There's the biopsychosocial method. Now, bio will involve medication, psycho will involve psychotherapy, and social will involve psychotherapy being counseling and therapy. And the third one is a social support system. So you need the patient with a better prognosis, the one who's going to get out better, the one who has a likelihood of getting out better, is the one who has a strong social support.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes, you can medicate the patient. You can medicate them. You've given them antidepressants or anti-anxiolytics, that's anti-anxiety drugs. You've given them all that. You've given them counseling. You're giving them 2 hours per day with a therapist. But when they go home and they lack a proper social structure, the patient is very likely to either revert back to their episode or is likely to not end up very well. Okay, so that is the place of a social structure. Now, same thing applies even to parenting, I guess. For me, I'm looking at it for myself as well as a medic, that you need a social support system.
Yeah.
And this doesn't only apply, to show you the magnitude of this, it doesn't only apply to patients who have psychiatric illnesses, even to patients who have physical issues, that they have malaria or they have a cancer, a malignancy. The best prognosis patient is the one who, yes, they may be having the terrible stage, and us as the medics, we're really thinking this one, hapa ni kunoma, but the patient is surrounded by their friends and family. Oh, I'm telling you, it's a great place to be. Yes, the patient may pass away, but you can even see the support system around the patient. Patient is comfortable. They're in pain, the pain is being managed, but the patient is comfortable.
Yeah.
So now to bring that back to the place of listening, I tell you, it's really having to know that you can be listened to, and to know that you're listened to without judgment, and without, as I mentioned in the prior statements, without an air of superiority that unajua mimi ni mkubwa wako. Yes, it's facts. I mean, you've seen me grow up, absolutely, but you're still listening to me, and you're still seeing my point of view. You want to see the point in what I'm saying. Yes, mimi ni mtoto, and I can give you an example. My brother and I we're wowed by the ability of our parents to pay listening ear to us when we were younger. Because I remember my bro, I think it was my brother, you're in a bad place, your parents are telling you to do something, you don't want to do it. Now you start crying. Do you know, my dad he'd not, yes, he'd let you cry, but after you've cried, he's going to ask you, now you finished crying. Now I want us to talk. I want you to tell me your point so that I understand your point. And you're seeing that he genuinely wants to understand what is your point. I want to see your point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not where is your point that when in Toto and listen to me, this is farm feast. There was a room, there's room for that, and there was a place for that. But it was, and same thing was with mom, Mercy, it was, I want to see your point. So communicate your point to me. I tell you, it's done wonders, because even today, I'll be able to notice, maybe we're having, there's a source of conflict even at work or at school, and you'll notice the conflict, and your priority will not be to be swayed by emotions, but to actually see, okay, where's the point in what we're saying? Who has the point? And let's walk through it and get away to the other side. So totally listening to your child without that air of superiority. Yes, you're the parent, but let's communicate. And I tell you, it will do wonders, because then they'll want to listen to facts, and to, it may take time, and Mercy, the expert, will share on that. It may take time, but coming to a place where you're discussing ideas. I know this sounds like a business meeting, but trust me, I'm telling you the truth.
No, we are actually very reflective. I'm actually really reflective when you say about listening. So yes, you're making a lot of sense.
Yes, absolutely. So just listening, and listening honestly. Listening as you would listen to your friend talking to you and trying to explain to you why the world is the way it is. You want to listen to their point.
Yeah.
So that too, and trust me, you're speaking as a young parent. I'm not a parent, so I'm learning as well. So it's a learning point for all of us.
You've taught us. You've really taught us. Wow, that is amazing. I think that is so amazing. Mercy, what do you want to add?
Well, you asked him the question, and I thought, I know he did values to be listened to.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want him to leave out that. So it's okay. You can proceed.
Yeah, but I really love that. I think even though this meeting we've had, just that point that we should learn to listen, and I just know my son is now getting into teenage, and I see the crave he has to be listened to, and he always says, "Hey, listen to me. I didn't mean that." I think for me that's really a take home, like quite an. It's really eye-opening and very, very helpful to me. Wow, thank you for that, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, is there any other before? Yes, the other question probably that I had, maybe for Mercy, what would be the most frustrating time? What would you say was the most frustrating time in your parenting? When were there, now it's time for Kina Mike to be.
Time for me to be on the back burner, yeah.
Wow. Surprising enough, the Lord has been very, very gracious to me and the two boys. I wouldn't really say I've been to a point where I've been so frustrated by them. But one incident that I remember that really got me frustrated in terms of parenting is when we started having conflict with their father. Wow, it still stands out as the hardest thing for me in parenting, because I have been here speaking to them about love, and I mean, we have mentored them. I am speaking to families, I'm speaking to my students about love and marriage and everything, and I'm looking at my marriage and I am actually going to lose it. And finally, I lost it. It was very, very frustrating for me. I didn't know how to face my children to start with. I didn't know how to defend that cause. It was very, very difficult for me. So for me, that has been the most frustrating part of my parenting. But of course, with time, it's now a long time ago. I mean, I have overcome that, and I have now known what it means to be double parents, but parenting from different sides. One being on this side and another on the other side, but still being able to co-parent. So I have now learned other skills of co-parenting, and that is why I wrote the book. First of all, I needed to speak to those that are single parents, those that are separated and divorced, that you can still parent, even though you can parent correctly, even though you are divorced. You can actually be a good mother and good father, even though you are a single-handed. So that is now something new that I have learned, and I am speaking to anyone that cares to listen, that it is possible to be a parent. So, but of course, to start with, it was too much for me. I really didn't know how to handle it. But with time, I have learned how to do it, and I'm cool. So you asked about the most frustrating. That was my most frustrating.
Wow. Yes. I'm so. Thank you for such honesty. That is something that is really, really personal. And thanks for sharing that with us. But it really tells us about how authentic you are, even in terms of the relationships that are around you. And we really honor that. I really honor that. So, and you've done an amazing job. You know, the work you have done is excellent. I just admire you, Mercy. I think you are. So maybe before now you tell us about your book, maybe you can, just like what Mike has told us about a lesson you would wish us to learn as parents. What one lesson would you wish as parents, especially as we are parenting in the 21st century, with all the challenges that are happening today? How would you, what's one thing? I know you've written a book with so many pages. I have that book with me. I've been reading that book. I have read it and I have enjoyed it, and I've been writing notes on it. So thank you for
it. Is here. Yes, you are looking for it.
I have my copy. Yes, I do.
Yes.
So what is, if you are asked by a young parent, a person who is getting into parenting, they are brand new, you know, a manual, no one comes with a manual, and you have to share something, like one point. What would you share with us? Then you can tell us about your lovely book.
Yes. One point that I would like to share with the young parents, and I share with young parents, I tell them that parenting is dynamic. Parenting is a process. You give birth to your child, and you are also born. So you grow with your child. And it is important to be an intentional parent. Be an intentional parent. Do not allow your children just to grow like a bush. You know, the way we have bush growing, and there are weeds and whatever is there. Just make a contribution to the growth of your child by becoming intentional, growing with your child, and going through the motions of life with your child. And like I normally say, I like it when parents say that we are now in class 1, we are now in class 5, we are now in class 7. You know, we are in form 4. We are now getting. You know, it's like you are saying, I am part of the growth of my child. And you know what? A child can never outgrow the mother, the father. It doesn't matter how educated your child becomes. It doesn't matter how wealthy your child becomes. At the end of the day, you are the mother, you are the father. They will come back to you. So my challenge to us as parents is become intentional and be willing to learn so that you can grow with your child. Then the other thing is desire to have a disciplined child. Just have some desire. Try. It may be difficult. Of course, parenting today is not as it was yesterday. Today is more challenging. But let your desire be, I am going to contribute some positivity in the life of my child so that you have a disciplined child, but not just to let the child grow like that. And of course, we have challenges as they are growing up. The parent wants to believe everything the child says and wants to harass everybody, even if you are using matatu, for those that use matatus, they want the child to sit and there's an adult standing. If you go to the bank and there are 2 seats, you want your child to sit because it is their right. But desiring to have a child that is responsible also, for me, it is something. And I always tell the parents, it is intentional. A child will not just become responsible. A child will not just become disciplined. A child needs somebody to guide them. You need to be there to grow. And of course, I know I can speak so much about parenting. I challenge parents to give their children quality and quantity time. Quality and quantity time. There can never be quality without quantity, because some parents will give their child 10 minutes and they will say, I spent some some quality time. And how much time was it? 10 minutes. A child of 3 years, by the end of the 3rd minute, they have already switched off from you. They are busy doing their thing. And even if they are there with you physically, they are busy counting, some stars or some, something in the house, the way children get distracted. So if you spend 10 minutes with your child and half of the time, not even half, 3/4 of the time, they were busy counting the stars and counting, seeing books and getting distracted, then actually you cannot consider that to have been quality time. That's why personally, I encourage quality and quantity time. And I also encourage parents to bring up their children as individuals, but at the same time as members of the family. What do I mean? If you have 4 children, then know you have 4 children. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of them is a separate entity. But at the same time, the 4 children belong to one family. That is to say, there is time for X, Y, Z, and K. And then there is time for all of them. Of course, parents will say they don't have a lot of time. But I also say we have time for our friends. We have time to go to the salon for mothers. For the men, we have time to hang out with boys. And for us who are career people and business people, we have time to go to work. So why would we say we do not have time for our children? We have time. We only need to create it. So the same way we created time for this one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yes. So we can create time for our children. So
that's very true.
There are many things I tell parents, but for me, becoming an intentional parent is critical.
Wow, I love that. And being present. I think you can be there and you're not there.
Yes. Yes.
So even as you're there, that's one of the challenge we have. You're there, you should be there and also be there in terms of physically, mentally, emotionally, etc. I see Janet is a doctor, by the way, Mike. I don't know whether you guys know each other in those circles. And she has wonderful words for you that she's going to mention to the psychiatric consultants that you've really internalized. Yeah. So
yes, please, even I should send you my registration number.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you so much. Now, I don't know whether there's any other question. Hannah, are you there? Janet? I think for me, I don't have any other questions. Give you just a few minutes, Miss Mercy. I loved this book. And actually, one of the things that you have said that really stood out for me was that aspect of that we grow with our children. That the moment a child is born, a parent is also born. I think for me, that was really, it really opened my eyes. And that also, the other thing that really struck me was the aspect of, actually even underlined it somewhere, the aspect that we really need to nobody becomes a bad person on the, just at once. It is every day,
Yes.
every day you start losing your consciousness, and then all of a sudden, the gray becomes, what do you say, gray turns black, the shades of gray. Yeah, and that was really, really, really nice that you put up this book. And I really want you to share with us just a little bit of, just maybe 5 nuggets that you'd want us to go home with regarding shaping generations and also raising a disciplined people, because we are really in discipline. I'm telling you. And I think the reason we don't even make it in entrepreneurship, we don't make it in careers, we don't make it in parenting, we are struggling, it's because we lack discipline. So maybe you can tell us very quickly some nuggets about this book and maybe where we can get it from. Yeah. So this is yeah.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Maybe in 1 minute I could share why this book. Why am I writing this book at this particular time? Now, I've been a teacher of 30 years plus. I have interacted, like I said earlier, I've interacted with all levels of students. I mean, from the babies, the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, all the way to the university. So I have an idea of what happens in all levels of education. And all through in my career, I've interacted with students. I am choleric. I'm not choleric. I am sanguine. I am very easy, very, very social. Yeah. So I interact very well with the students, whatever age, whether the babies or the mature ones. I interact very, very, very easily with the students, and I'm able to make friends with the students. But one observation that I have made as I have interacted with the students is there is some correlation between good performance and discipline. And to me, good performance is not just getting the straight A's. I am a teacher of maths, and I have been in private school. I was teaching in a high-cost private school, and therefore producing grades. I know how to produce them. I will give you the A, but I do not just want to give you an A student that cannot fit in the community. So as I'm going to interact with the students, I saw like, oh my God, there is a problem here. A student who has indisciplined cases is going to perform, even if they perform well. Remember, I'm saying performance is not just about academics, it's general performance. How are they interacting with the community? How are they dealing with the other people's properties? How do they respect other people? So I realized that discipline is key, it's very, very important. So that has been my concern all through. And then of course I got a lot of pressure from Kina Mike and Martin, because I do motivational talks. I've been doing motivational talks to the educational stakeholders, the board members, the teachers, the students, and everyone. So as I've continued to speak, I'm accumulating a lot of, information. So I'm wondering where after I've done, so what? So Kina Mike have been challenging me to write a book, and so that is the premise of my writing. So so I said, I have touched lives. Thank you. I've touched lives in a small way. And even for the parents, I am challenging them. The book is meant for the parents, the teachers, the education administrators, for students, for pastors, anybody who deals with young people. I don't have to change the whole world. I'm definitely not going to change the whole world, because I'm not Jesus. Only Jesus who has those kind of powers. But if we could change one person at a time, for me as a parent, I help shape my child, and then the teacher helps shape the student, and then the pastor in church. Because what has been happening in the society is that people point fingers at each other. The parent is dumping the child in boarding school, no, so that the child can be disciplined by the teacher. And who are you giving the teacher? You're giving a 14, 15-year-old, and you're expecting the teacher to perform some magic and change it. And then when the child goes to school, what happens? The teacher points the finger at the parent and he says, you, mommy, you, daddy, did not. And then we go to church points the finger at media, you know, and then media is busy making money. So we are pointing fingers at each other. So my challenge has been and still remains that let each one of us make their little contribution.
True.
If I make my little contribution as a teacher, I make my 100% contribution as a teacher.
Yeah.
And then the parent makes 100% contribution. Then the church 100%. That is why the book is meant for all of us, without saying at who is going to give 20%, who is giving 80%, who is giving 100%. Every one of us is giving 100%. Why? Because we have been given mandate by God and others is by nature to do whatever it is that we need to do 100%. All right. So I hope I am making a point to you, my dear parents, that as a parent, you make your 100%. The teacher will not point a finger at anyone. They are professionals and they have been trained, and therefore they're supposed to be making their 100%. They shouldn't be, the teacher should not be talking about the parent. And by the way, when I go to teachers, I tell them the same. I challenge them. I tell them, why are you pointing fingers at the parent? Yet you have gone to college, you have trained as a teacher, you're supposed to have skills to shape the student. So shape the student, that is your role, that is your part. So shape the student from that point, all right? So that has been my argument, that every one of us praise their Lord. And of course, I've defined what I mean by discipline. In my view, being disciplined is being able to choose the right thing to do when you have so many options.
True.
I mean, when all is said and done, who is this disciplined person? Is you have 5 options that you can take, but you pick this one that is the right thing to do without anyone supervising you, without your mother there, without your father there, without anyone supervising you and following you up. And then in my view also, discipline is not when you don't do this big thing. You know, there is this big thing. There is no big thing and small thing. If you cannot follow simple instructions, for example, you are in school, if you cannot get to class in time, then in my view, that is indiscipline.
True.
As a child at home, if you cannot come home on time as you have agreed with your parents, you can't keep the curfew time. You know, you have agreed by 6 o'clock, you should be back. You are starting the journey from wherever you are at 9 p.m. That is indiscipline. So when your child behaves like that, as a parent, you don't point fingers at the teacher who is in school. You simply know this child is not disciplined unless they have very good reason to come in. What I'm trying to say is the small things, and that is what now Dr. Rida was talking about. The small things build up to big things. So there's little indiscipline build up to big indiscipline, and therefore we need to know that it is our responsibility. I've talked about indiscipline as my chapter 2, and of course I've mentioned something about corruption. I've said that it is interesting that part of the indiscipline is being corrupt, and we are actually introducing it in the family, and we seem to have accepted it. How have we accepted it? As a child is growing up from 2 years, and we are supposed to be eating. Eating is supposed to be a requirement. I mean, you're supposed to eat, and the child should grow knowing
that eating is compulsory.
What do we do? What we do as mommy, as we are feeding this baby, daddy, kula hii nikupeleke mahali, nikupeleke kwa swing. Now, there is a problem with the motivation, differentiating motivation and bribing. You know, because when you tell a child eat, so that I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 things, then you are actually telling them that for you to do the right thing, you need to be given something, and they grow up like that. So as they are growing up, they were already introduced to corruption from the family. And we are very, very good. We are very good at that. I know we talk about encouraging them, motivating them, and all that, but we should be able to put a line between bribing and introduction and encouraging our children. Of course, I've talked about parenting being continuous, and like I was saying to you earlier, I did say that you cannot wake up one day and have a disciplined child. It's a process.
Yeah.
It is a process from when they are born. If you're growing up with your child, and you are spanking them every now and then, even without any cause, you're just spanking them with a finger. And you have seen mothers spanking their children with the fingers over very little things, just spanking. Somebody bites your titty, you're spanking and causing a lot of pain. The child grows up very violent.
Yeah.
And you're saying they shouldn't fight in school, and you're wondering, why should I not fight? I mean, mommy started fighting me when I was only 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Or when I was 2 months old. So I'm actually trying to say that parenting is a process. It's something that we do every day. We grow with it every day. We do not just wake up one day and decide that we are going to have a disciplined child. Of course, I've taken quite some time to explain about children being our future, and I've explained that it's important to be intentional in sharpening the future. Yeah. And the reader knows this. As I speak to parents, I tell them about their children being very, very important people today. Your child is very, very important. Why? Because you are holding a very important person in your house. If you looked at your 2-year-old as the president of Kenya, I mean, if you just crossed your eyes and imagined that the child I am growing today, the child who is growing in my house today, is actually not my child per se. He is a Kenyan. He's going to be the president of Kenya. You have an image in your mind, and see your child 25 years from today, 30 years from today, 40 years from today. You will be able to shape the future of this child. And you'll be so intentional in shaping up the future of your child. If you look at your child I actually look at Mike and the brother. The brother is an advocate of the High Court, and Mike soon to be a doctor. I mean, these Jamas were born the other day. Yeah. Just the other day. And before I know it, Mike is 26. My goodness. Before I know it.
Yes, you're a grandma. I can imagine.
So your child is not going to remain a child for a long time.
True.
Your child is every day is becoming something. Yeah. So if we looked at our children like that, we will be more intentional in ensuring that we bring up a disciplined child. You'll do anything that you need to do to bring out that president, to bring out that doctor, to bring out that an advocate of the High Court. By the way, you should have asked me this, and I would have answered. My wow moment in parenting. My wow moment in parenting is when I have watched Mike. I have watched Mike do stuff like when Corona hit the country. Mike actually got an engagement. He got an engagement with one of the organizations that was taking care of us. I don't want to mention the name, but he was in that team. So he was dealing with the Corona people right from the Apokatikat. Wow. I mean, that was my wow moment. I'm looking at my son and I'm saying, imagine my son is participating in sorting out this big issue, this pandemic. Wow. It was such a wow moment. And I've been going with my son. Once in a while, he invites me to go with him to court. And I've been with him, and I look at him and I say, hold on, is that my son?
That's a good feeling.
I'm trying to say, if we looked at our children as in, and we take them to the future. Yeah. You live in the future today. Do you know some of the things that we do as parents, Dr. Rida and my friends who are here, we would not do them.
True.
We would be more intentional.
True.
If you just imagined what is going to become of your child, maybe in the next 10 or so years, you do things very, very differently. So that has been the challenge that I'm throwing to the parents. Look at your child, bring the future to your child today, so that you can shape them the best way possible. I've talked about the parenting styles, and of course, parenting styles is another whole topic. We can write a book on parenting styles. But one thing that I've encouraged parents is you cannot bring up one child like another one, because they are very, very different.
True.
Just like you are different as a parent, your children too are different. So reading and studying the parenting styles is a good thing, but understanding your child and helping your child, supporting your child to grow using whichever parenting style is appropriate, then for me is the best thing to do. So that you are not forcing, the characteristics of these parenting styles that you are taught in church, those trainings that we go to. You are told as a parent, this is what you should be doing. Okay, but having the information is very, very good. But knowing how and when to apply the information is now it's actually much better, because it will help your child grow. And of course, for me, modeling that which you are asking your child for me is the best that you can do. For example, if you're modeling, if you're asking your child to be a listener, or to listen, then you being able to model that is better than telling them, because it's easier for your child to follow what you are saying than to do. It's easier for them to follow what you are doing than to follow what you are saying, because what you are doing, they are learning it. Like Mike actually said that they saw me doing business, so he just got into it, and he didn't say that when he was in campus a little earlier he was selling bags. Mike, you are selling bags.
It's only successful businessmen who talk about their failures. The rest of us, we sit on them and we be quiet. No, let me tell you. Actually, let me tell you. I got an idea of selling bags. So we used to live in Gara. My brother and I, we used to live in Gara. And so I was passing there and nasikia wanauza bag 200. 200 bob. I'm thinking, this is, I can get it and then sell. So I started it. And I did it for some time.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't have as much time. You see, it's important for you to know your extent.
That's
to know how much you have, how much you can do.
Yeah.
And I know it's often said, don't give up, don't give up. And this is not me saying, this is more successful businessmen. It's okay to give up sometimes.
It is good to give up.
It's okay to give. In fact, it's wise to know when to give up.
True.
Yes, know when to hold on. Know when to hold on to the business with a vision. We know how KFC started with the guy being 60. We know all these successful businesses that started late, but to know when to give up. So I noticed how much time I'm putting into it. And I noticed how much time I have on my hands, the effort that it takes. And I realized, even though it's going well,
you need to.
I need to know when to say no. So that's what I did.
Thank you. Mike, now, as Mike has talked about my last chapter. My last chapter is about the wholesome person who is able to know when to hold and when to let go. Anyway, let's come back. I've also talked about neighborhood. I personally encourage parents to be aware of their neighborhood. Yeah. You cannot ignore your neighborhood. You can't say, I don't care. You care. You care a lot. And so for me, I have lived in a school compound where I was in Meriliki and I lived in the school compound. I also lived someplace in Imala, open space. I'm now here. I mean, I know the place of neighborhood. So it is very, very important for a parent, for a mother to know who your neighbors are. Why? Yeah. Because your neighbors influence your children directly. It doesn't matter how much you buy, you think you have bought everything. You will buy TV, very, very big TV in your house, But you'll still find your child leaving your house and going to a neighbor's house to watch black and white. And you're wondering, why are you going? I mean, so I'm trying to say it is very, very important to understand your neighborhood and even to. And of course, one thing that I have challenged parents is if there is a way you can influence your neighbor's children, please influence them, because when you influence your neighbors, positively. When you influence your neighbor's children positively, you are directly influencing your children. And for me, when I was in Mercy Igoki, and even later when I came to Imara and my children were growing up, I had a Bible club. And I held on to it, and I did it alone, and I ran it for many years. I actually went, Mike is here, he can confirm. I went to Sunday school with them from the baby class. I stopped going to Sunday school when they went to teens class, when they decided now mami shuad. Si sasa to some Sunday school na mtu mwingine. So I'm still trying to talk about your neighbors. So when you influence your neighbors' children positively by doing some things that will help them and even shape them. Remember, we said you don't have to shape in a big way. Just shape in a little way. In your little way, you change your neighbor's boy, your neighbor's girl. This boy is the one who is relating with who? With your son.
That is true.
With your daughter. So you are actually in I don't want to say indirectly, it is actually directly. You are directly influencing the behavior and discipline of your child. So for me, neighborhood is very, very important, and we need to understand and do something to our neighbors. Even encouraging your neighbor to go to church. I have something about religion. Encouraging your neighbor to go to church. And going with your neighbor's children to church is a good thing, as long as you get their permission. You might feel like it is too much work, but you know what? Unajisaidia we mwenyewe. You are helping yourself, because you'll keep. There is something that I keep saying, and I will say it even now. There is do and do. You know in the computer, you do in your house and do in your neighbor's house. So whatever it is that you are taught, when your child goes to your neighbor's house, everything is brought down. So the safest thing for you to do, in my view, is take care of your neighbor's child.
True. That's true.
And the other thing that I've really talked about, I am very passionate about it, is the relationship. And we already said that it is very, very important when you make your child a friend. Make your child a friend. Let your child find a place where they can run. You know, like for the teenagers, they really value their friends. I mean, that is where they really want to belong. And sometimes they get offended when they go to visit their friends. So if your teenager can find a friend in the mother, or a friend, the father, or a brother, at home, it becomes very, very easy for them to run. They are frustrated wherever they come home. They are impressed. And I personally encourage parents to hug their children. It feels very nice to hug. And I also try to do this in all my meetings. I ask people to hug themselves.
Yeah, we can hug ourselves right now.
I'm not saying Janet and Hannah, but I like doing that, especially when I talk to the young people. I tell the young people, when you really feel you really want this hug, you're missing to be loved by someone, go to the mirror and open your arms and hug me.
Yes.
I am hugging me. Hug me. And nice about it. That way, you are emotional. And by the way, when you become intentional, you go to the mirror, look at the mirror, and admire yourself. Admire the person on the mirror there, and hug that person. I want you to try. You automatically.
I think I'll do that. I will do that. I think that's one of the things I will be doing in the morning, because sometimes you wake up and you're feeling groggy. I think you need to give yourself a hug.
Yes. I'm very intentional. I'm very, very intentional. Of course, for us who belong to this other world without spouses, you do that, and it feels very nice. You hug me. I go to the mirror and I hug Mercy, and I tell Mercy, do have a good morning today. Have a good day. gonna be a busy day, but it's going to be fine. Okay, Mercy?
Wow.
Yes. And we start the day.
That is wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you. So I'm talking about relations in the family and becoming intentional, being friends with the family. I don't have the time to explain to you about my father. My father passed on last year, but my father really loved me. He loved me. He loved me. I had him for only 15 years. It's another story that maybe I can give you another time, but I had him for only 15 years, but it was 15 years of quality time.
Yeah.
My father spent good time with me. He loved me. He showed me love. He actually used to call me at my age, he used to call me my child. You can imagine now, Mimi, 15 plus, I mean 50 plus, I'm called my child. It didn't used to feel nice. I didn't miss it. What am I trying to say? I'm encouraging parents for you to be able to push your agenda of disciplining and shaping your child into good discipline. Then they need to feel the love from you, and your love is genuine. Your love is not like for that boy or for that girl, especially the teenagers. The teenagers, I really encourage parents, and I've done the same even on in the book. I encourage the parents to love their children and verbalize it.
Yeah.
Make it verbal. That your daughter, your son know that you love them, and you know your love is unconditional. Because even when they have done a wrong thing, you still love them. And then I've spoken a lot to the school teacher, the educational institutions, the managers and the teachers. And like I said earlier, I have challenged them to do what is right. Just do what is right. But I have one challenge that I have thrown to the parents as they relate with the kids. Let's remain respectful. Remain respectful, even when you think the teacher is wrong or should apologize to a child. Letting the teacher remain the teacher and remain the boss in quotes is a good thing. It will help your child. But when you go and you're changing once with the teacher because of your child, at the end of the day, you have your child, but you have the child that particular day, but later on you lose your child because they learn that after all they do not have to be respectful. So I am challenging the parents. I've challenged the parents and the school management to remain respectful. I have challenged the teachers. I've challenged the teachers, and I do it even physically. I tell teachers, if you have to punish a child, and I have tried it as a teacher, if you have to punish a child, first and foremost, that child must understand why they are being punished.
True.
Let them understand before you punish them. I personally don't believe in the story of punishing and then explaining. What are you explaining? Somebody is already too offended. I personally believe, this is my belief, explain what it is that the child has done that was not right. And say, because you need to learn, this is the punishment that I am going to give you. And let the punishment be equal to the offense, so that you are not giving very heavy punishment of a very minor thing. I am also a believer of punishments being related to whatever it is that the child has done. And I have also challenged the teachers to be bright and know how to punish students. And one of the examples that I have used, being a teacher of mathematics, you will have students who do not want to come to your maths class. So what will happen is they know you don't allow latecomers. They will always come late. Then what you do, you send them out, and guess what? They are happy. They go dancing and looking at you as if, mwalimu wa ni mjinga, you've sent me out. So I have actually encouraged the teachers, especially teachers of maths. A child who doesn't want to be in class, the biggest punishment that you can give that child is not to go out, is not to chap at them, it's not to beat them up. It is to ask them to sit right next to you, to the, the teacher's desk. They want them to be away. Okay, you've come late. Karibu san. Don't be fussy. Don't make it a big deal. Just let them come in. Oh, Paula, you have come late. Come in. Sit next to me. That child will learn. So I'm actually calling the teachers also to remember that it is not, you don't just punish the child over everything. There are also times when you extend grace and you forgive this child who has committed whatever offense they have committed, so that they can also learn that there is forgiveness. And even with parenting, I challenge us the same. It is not everything that you beat your child. I mean, if you're beating them about everything and nothing, your beating stops making sense. So my encouragement is, let's talk about it. Let's talk And we can even plan consequence together with your child. That if you repeat this another time, this is what is going to happen to you. You will not go out maybe for swimming, or you will remain indoors because you've gone out at the wrong time or something. But let's not just punish about everything. And then there is also a time when you choose to forgive your child and let them know you are forgiven them, not that you are forgotten. Because forgetting also for the child is a good thing. They will think that you are always forgetting. So let them know, I am not going to punish you, or I promised I would do this, but I am not going to do it because I have forgiven you. What have I done? Let them repeat. I have forgiven you. Okay, I need to finish. I've said something about religion, and I've encouraged parents to take their children to school, because not to school, but to church, because godliness helps us in shaping the discipline. And I've talked something about mentoring and coaching, and I've encouraged parents to allow people to speak to the lives of their children, because it is not everything. You don't know everything. There are things that you may not know. So other people can add value to your child. And I've given a lot of advantages and disadvantages. And then finally, I've spoken something about the wholesome person. Who is this person who can fit in the community? Somebody who is able to keep friends. We have children who are not able to keep friends. They make friends today, and the next day they have lost their friends. So how do we get this child who is able to keep their friends? So I've spoken quite a bit on the wholesome person, and there is so much that I can say about the book. Allow me to say that it is possible to make our contribution. We make our contribution and then trust the Lord that He will help our children. And needless for me to say that I've also challenged parents to teach their children prayer. I have challenged parents to teach their children prayer. Let's teach our children to pray. That there are times that mommy may not provide, daddy may not provide, but we can trust God to provide. So that helps that child to be disciplined. But even when they are unable to do something, they are challenged in a certain way, we are able to go back and pray for them and tell them that we have been talking about this issue over and over again. I think this time we need to pray over it. And that way, the Lord will help us to get or to raise disciplined people. Thank you very much.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't know whether I have my reactions here so that I can give my clap. Yes, there they go. But thank you so much, Mercy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me give you the hug. Thank you so much. I could just feel the passion oozing out, about your book and about the kind of legacy you want to leave. And maybe just to summarize what you have just taught us, you've just taught us so much, so much, and I really love the aspect of looking at the future. Sometimes as parents, because of all the things we are hearing we are in debt, and that our children are going to be in debt for all these years. Sometimes you're not able to see that future. I think we need to start getting new lenses and asking God to show us that future, that child being a doctor, starting this big business, solving this big problem, and we keep it in our mind, so that when you're relating with our children, we relate with them from that perspective. So thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate it. And I can see Janet. I don't know that Janet want to say something verbally, but I can see your comment here. Janet, great wealth of experience and wisdom. Mercy and Mike feel appreciated. She is so glad that she was able to join in, and she hopes to get a signed copy of the book. Yes, that book is a gem, and that's why I invited you, wanted you to come and feed us. So thank you so much. Maybe there's something that you have said that I remembered a story, and you've talked of whenever we take care of our children, we should also take care of the children outside. And I remember there was this story of this man who had very good corn, like maize, very good, heavy, good harvest. But every time he would get a good seed, he would share with his neighbors. You know, he'd go and take the seeds and he would share to his neighbors. And one time, people would come and ask him, why do you share with your neighbors? Yet they're your competitors. And he said, no, these are not my competitors. This maize has to be cross-pollinated. And if it's cross-pollinated with with a poor grade maize from my neighbor, my actually lose. So it is in my interest that I share my good maize, my good product with my neighbors. That way we can all have quality products. So thank you for affirming that. And this is just so amazing. I'm so happy that you're able to join us. So I can see it's already 8:30. And I just want you to give us a parting shot. Maybe, Mike, you can give us a parting shot. Janet, I don't know whether you're there. Maybe you could have a question or a parting shot. Yes, just one parting shot, and then we can call it an evening. And also, Mercy, you can tell us where to get this book. I know Naivas is now taking books, locally authored books. So you could consider one of those outlets, but you can tell us where you can get it for now. So Mike, tell us your parting shot, and yeah, then we can call it a night. It's been lovely.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Parting shot. If you have not heard anything that I've said, the one thing that you should hear is that Chelsea are the champions of Europe. Okay, so I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, but that's not the point. My word. Do your best. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a cliche. I don't want to make a cliche out of my final statement. This is so much pressure. You shouldn't have said final statement. You should be like, just tell us something, you know. Final statement. I think make friends with your child. Make friends with your child. It possibly won't be easy if they've grown and they've come to see in a certain light. But make friends with your child because it will be helpful not only to you because you'll be able to parent better, but even to me as the son, as the daughter, be able to see as a friend and to see someone that I can come to in case of anything. And of course, it goes without saying that aside from Chelsea being champions of Europe, you should also buy Mom's book.
We should also buy?
You should buy Mom's book.
Oh yeah, yes,
absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to get so many other copies. I love it. I really love it. I think it's an amazing book that most parents and most teachers will definitely need. Yes, thank you for that, Mike. All right, Mercy, your parting shot.
My parting shot is simple. Dr. Rida and Janet and Mike, and our friends who will be watching this, when the right thing is done over and over and over again, it becomes a way of life.
True.
So to have a disciplined person, just train one aspect, another aspect, another aspect. As we add 1 + 1 + 1, the mathematician that I am, you get a big number.
True. Small steps. So small steps. Yes. There's power in small steps. And thank you so much. Mercy, you've talked to us like we were 100 of us here, just like you promised. You know, thank you so much. This is so amazing.
I told you when we go preaching, when you are preaching to 5 people, the one is the same as when you are preaching to 1,000.
Yes, and 1,000 is already here. I am so honored. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I really believe those people are going to get time and listen to this are going to really be blessed. And it's amazing that you're using your gift. You're using your gift to bless other people. May God bless you. May God bless the two of you. May He enlarge you. May He shine His face upon you. And may He give you peace. you know, because you guys have been so kind and really, you have really enriched us. I think the way I'm going to relate with my children this evening is going to be different. I'll listen.
Thank you, thank you.
I will make sure I am listening, because I think I don't have the patience to listen. So I will make sure that I will be listening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And I think we are good to go. Yeah. Have a wonderful night. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see you.